Welcome to the stage. The next act is Darnell, Leid. Make some noise. Here's Darnell. Darnell, Charlie.
Always nice to be doing this, I have to say, especially on such a beautiful day. But speaking of beautiful, I have to say everyone's dressed very nice. From the corduroy to the button-ups to the tennis shorts. Sort of like if gentrification was a crowd, but thanks for coming out, lads. But speaking of gentrification, I'm actually from Croydon, which isn't gentrified at all. But I can't wait. It's just not good, you know? Like, we got a Wendy's recently, and that's given me hope. But I just picture people frolicking, you know? Niggas running for exercise, as opposed to 20 bags, you know? And then I always have to tell people this as well, because when you say you're from Croydon, there's a lot of assumptions that can be made. And this always surprises me. It always surprises other people, sorry, because you can't really tell just looking at me. But I'm actually black. But no, when you're from a ghetto place, and you're ghetto, you see your fair share of parental beatdowns. You know, I'm talking hands, flip-flops, full-blown front kicks, you know? Like, it's a real thing, like, sir, you seem a healthy shade of ambiguous. Would you happen to be ethnic?
Yes, I am.
What are the chances? Now, have you been black for a while?
My whole life.
Oh, that works. So were you beaten?
Yes.
Were you told it was your fault?
Yes.
Are you doing online therapy as well? Because you need to, if you grow up gay, because you normalise stuff that's not normal. I didn't even realise how ghetto I grew up till I started going therapy. Like, my dad got arrested on Father's Day. Well, I can tell some of you aren't from South London. And my genuine takeaway was, well, if I return the socks now, I can get my £10 back from Uniqlo. Which is apparently not a healthy response. Apparently I should be like, where's my dad? But that's neither here nor there, much like him. And then you start going to therapy more and you start thinking, what else have I normalised that isn't normal? You know, and then you think back to you as a child playing with some super glue in the mirror. Good times, pure. You guys are thinking, what? But when you've got ADHD, certain things just do it for you. And when you take that chemical and you drip it on that reflective surface, and you just watch it crystallize and turn into a solid. Now that's what we came for. You do that for about 5-10 minutes, and before you know it, your 8-year-old hands are super glued to a mirror. And you're just stuck there, knowing you're going to be beaten. And the next thing I remember is just those obese steps coming up the stairs. It's all right, she lost the weight. No, she didn't. And I just remember looking myself in the eyes as I'm being, as my mum would call it, slap up. I'd call it being beaten in an unsanctioned fight by an opponent from a different weight class, but we tend to disagree on that. But my mum's love did kick in. You know, my mum did love me, and she thought, I got to get this niglet off this mirror, man. So she was like, I know what I'll do. I'll get the glue removal solution from B&Q. So she threw me in the back of the car, still super glued to the mirror. And she drove 40 minutes to B&Q, and she looked back at me and said, I'll be right back, which is never a lie. And eventually a crowd starts to form, right? As people are taking in the spectacle. There's people looking in the car like, why is this black child super glued to a mirror in the B&Q car park in a broken down Mercedes? And do you know what? Fair question. But they get closer and closer, and then I hear a Becky, Wendy, and Susan they're outside the car. I can hear them bickering. They're like, shouldn't he be in a booster seat? I'm thinking, that is the least of my fucking worries right now. But then, you know, they get a bit more brazen. They're like, I need to get this kid's attention. They're tapping on the windows. They're circling the car. They're going around. I'm trapped at this point. I'm super glued to the mirror. When they're in front of me, they're behind me. When they're behind me, they're in front of me. They're circling the car. It's like a weird white kaleidoscope of female trauma. I just didn't know what to do with it. But then luckily my mum did come back and she shooed them away like pigeons, as you do with them. And then I always will give my mum credit because she did have the solution. We needed to go to the emergency room because B&Q was out of stock. But it always perplexed me because we live 130 meters away from a hospital. Meaning my mum drove past the emergency room, looked back at me, looked head on and said, B&Q is going to save my child. Thanks for having me.